Welcome everybody. So glad to be here, joining Zeldathon raising money for charity water. My name is Cloud, and today I'm going to be showing off a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild all dungeons speedrun, or all divine beasts if you prefer. I've got with me on commentary the wonderful Player 5, if you'd like to introduce yourself real quick.
Hello. I'm excited to commentate this all dungeons run. I run a bit of all dungeons myself, and it's always a good time.
This category is pretty fun. If I had to pick, it's probably my favorite category in this game, just because one thing that's really great about Breath of the Wild speedruns in general is they're super fast paced. There's a lot of neat tricks, just back to back, very rapid fire. So we'll do our best to kind of guide you through this experience. But I guess first off, it's important to mention that I am not playing on the Switch 2, mostly because I'm broke and I couldn't afford one. But also just because they're out, as it currently stands, is still faster on the Switch 1. So if your Switch updated to version 1.8, I'm not playing on that version. I'm still on version 1.6. And that is because mainly of one very important exclusive glitch to older versions that we will be showcasing later.
Yeah, the whole 1.8 update plus Switch 2 edition has thrown a wrench into the Breath of the Wild speedrunning community. So we'll be navigating that over the next couple weeks.
So our very first part of the run here, 30 seconds in, we're already going to be performing our first skip with what's called a scope clip to get out of the Shrine of Resurrection early. And it's very useful we can do that because this is the one item that we have access to so early on, which is our Sheikah Slate right here. And you might be noticing as well that we are playing in Italian, which just ends up being the fastest language for all dungeons.
Italian is also the best language to have your voice acting in because of a little voice clip that we'll be hearing later on.
So for the scope clip, we're just going to line up there and press the scope at a precise angle to get out of bounds there. That's going to skip a couple minutes worth of cutscenes and such. And it's also going to skip that lovely title card that Breath of the Wild is so iconically known for. What that's going to do is it's going to keep the time of day at 5:15, which just means that we're not going to have to deal with any inclement weather or skeleton monsters or things like that. So on our way here, at the beginning of the Great Plateau, we've got some items we're going to grab, some food here for backup, and also to set up a very strong glitch we'll be using later. I'm also going to grab this pot lid, a torch, and a spear if I can. Very nice.
Ooh, getting the torch is nice.
So we're going to get a little more backup food here. I hope your kids at home are all eating your Hyruleanos.
And of course the spicy peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Eat them raw.
So now we've kind of got like our base equipment for the plateau. And our objective is to complete 4 shrines and collect 4 abilities before we are given the paraglider and allowed to leave plateau and kind of play the rest of the game. And so to do that, we're going to be using our shield to clip through walls. And I'll let P5 explain what that is.
Alright, so in Breath of the Wild, if you shield surf onto a sloped surface, then you'll actually store the angle of the slope, and the next time you do a shield surf, Link will flick back to that angle for like a frame. You saw it right there. Link kind of flicked a little bit, and so because of this, pretty violent movement back and forth, you're able to be on one side of a wall on one frame, and then flip through it on the next frame when you return to your original position. And of course, we just saw that's the broken glitch. With Smuggle Slide.
That's a controller issue.
Not the dying part.
We're just giving us more time to explain what's going on. That was scripted.
Exactly.
Do
It
we have a
is.
goal that we're working towards, Cloud?
We do, in fact. So towards the end of the run, after we complete our last Divine Beast, we have a goal to collect the Master Sword. Okay, I think I might just have to go around. Because I've already got the bow.
Yeah, that's right. We have a goal to unlock an extra part of the run, which I think you guys will like. We are going to be getting the Master Sword earlier than you're supposed to be able to get it. Since you normally need,
Just gonna grab this instead.
what, 13 hearts? But using a certain glitch, we can actually get it early. So make sure to get your donations in, and we can have a bit more fun in this segment.
Yeah, can I read a couple?
Sure, go for it.
Absolutely.
Hello, friends. It's your friend Mags reading donos. We had a 501 from Motorcycle Girl that said, "Let's go, Breath of the Wild." And then we just had a 20 from Kerplop. Every time I play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, I go out of my way to find as many Koroks as I can, just so the huge world feels a little less lonely. That's very nice. Thank you very much.
My controller was paid off by Canon or something because I'm getting a crazy snapback. We'll just see if we can clip through again.
All right, but that means that this time we can start to explain bow lift smuggle slide. So you'll see that Cloud picks up the pot while pulling out the bow, so that Link has both the bow and the pot above his head. And then you can do a series of menuing and inputs to get that stuck to his hand as he is going through.
Okay, that one was definitely my fault. I'm starting to think maybe we should just run over.
Do some 1.8 strats maybe.
Oh no. I actually haven't seen that.
It's like a BTB off of the Temple of Time Boko. It looks really, really interesting. But yeah, once you have the object stuck to Link's hand, then when you do his special like step up animation, it will cause him to just start hovering, and then when you flick left and right, you're turning Link and causing the collision between him and the object to kind of happen over and over, and so he gets pushed by that object in his hand, causing him to accelerate.
Alright, there we go. Whatever try that was. We made it to our first shrine, which is the Bombs Shrine. And bombs, as you will see, are perhaps the #1 most useful item in the game. We can use them to perform that BLSS glitch that Player 5 just explained. And then there's also another trick that, if you've seen this game before, you've probably heard of, called a wind bomb. Which is where we can basically drop 2 bombs in succession and then enter bullet time, which is like that slow-mo effect when you pull out your bow midair. And if you blow up the first bomb, the game is kind of miscalculating the physics required to like launch the bomb because you're in slow motion, and it'll send Link flying. These tricks are very kind of nuanced. There's a lot of different setups, and so we're going to be seeing a lot of wind bombs throughout the run of varying types.
A lot of ragdoll physics.
Yeah.
Oh no, poor Link.
It's like one of the best things about this game is the ragdoll physics. There's just something so fun about watching Link like roll down a giant mountain.
Oh no, Link. We had a couple
he's
of
alright.
560 from the Leaf Thief and 40 from Cinder Illusion. No comment each, but thank you both very much.
And
All right,
now-
coming up.
Yeah. Go for it.
Listen closely. Here's the voice line I was talking about. He's doing all right. He's just a little bit old.
Girl, same.
So while we're working our way through this dialogue here, we can talk about our next destination, which is the Magnesis Shrine, which will be the second out of 4. Magnesis is not going to find much use on Plateau, but there are a couple of spots later in the run that we will need it for the dungeons themselves. But either way, all the abilities are still required, so we'll be grabbing them no matter what, even if we end up not using them a lot.
Oh, you'll also notice that we just passed by the tower, completely ignored it. And if you were wondering about, entering the first shrine, we also didn't need the tower, since normally, like, you can't enter a shrine until you've activated the tower because it's still dormant, and so the front door doesn't work. But it's actually faster to skip activating the tower because it's got a really long cutscene for when you activate it. So it turns out that, having to clip into every shrine, and then also a side effect is you won't be able to warp to shrines since you don't activate them. And so, later on, there will be spots where it might seem like it's faster to warp, but we just can't. And so overall, like, that tower activation cutscene is really long, and so it's worth it to skip it.
Definitely. But there is a beginner route for this category that makes the run a bit simpler, that does get the tower, and it doesn't lose a whole bunch of time. So if you're interested in learning this category, that could be something you'd go for. Okay. So we're gonna do what we call Canal Wind Bomb here to try to skip to the end of the shrine. And this is gonna be a running theme for our shrines. We're gonna use wind bombs to just skip all the puzzles and ragdoll Link straight to the end. And just like that, we're already halfway done with Great Plateau.
Yeah, it's another reason that the bombs comes first in the shrines. Like, it's the fastest to get to initially, but it also gives us access to wind bombs, so we can skip the shrines really quickly. And then BLSS requires an item to be picked up. The initial one used a pot, but because we have bombs now that we can summon anywhere, you can just use it wherever you want. So right here, you just need a bomb and a ledge to step up on, and so this ledge is perfect, and we're off.
Whee!
This section of the run, or of Plateau, is one of the tougher ones. Controlling BLSS is quite difficult in terms of turning. You really have to pre-turn and pre-angle Link where you want to go, and doing that while maintaining speed can be difficult, especially here when there's all these rocks and trees in the way. There's 2 in particular that the speedrunning community has like a personal grudge against.
It's true.
So we're gonna do another wind bomb here.
I was hoping for an update that would remove it. There's like a tree and a rock that
we didn't get
they just
we didn't get
disappear.
as lucky. Nintendo did not listen to our cries.
Shame.
Let's hope this
For
one
all
actually
the good
puts
the
me at the tree.
speedrunning
Okay,
community
cool.
does.
This is a special type of wind bomb that we call a tree wind bomb or a spider wind bomb. We can jump off or launch off of objects that Link can climb in there. Nice launch angle. And then we're gonna keep our skew and try to clip in here. Nice. And then you may have noticed a couple times, like at the very beginning and right there, collision in this game is definitely more of a suggestion than a hard rule, especially when you're out of bounds. A lot of times you can get back inbounds by just crouching and uncrouching, where there's like a low enough floor. So here in Stasis, our third shrine ability. Again, this is one that we're not going to use very much on Plateau, but it will come in handy in a couple of spots later in the run throughout the dungeons. There's a really cool strat with Stasis that we'll be doing towards the end of Vomito, which is really cool.
Don't forget, chat, we are working together towards this goal of getting the Master Sword early, but we can't do it without your help. Be sure to get your donations in to support Charity Water. And we were chatting a little before the show, and Cloud mentioned she has not heard many of our secret sounds. So, especially some of our friends who've been with us for this marathon so far, please donate to show off some of our best secret sounds so Cloud can enjoy them.
That was a clean wind bomb.
It was pretty nice. I was hoping I'd get a ragdoll cancel right at the pedestal.
Yeah, not quite.
So here's a little kind of intended use of stasis. We're gonna be using to get up this cliff quicker. And then make our way to the final shrine, Cryonis. And you'll notice we're in the cold, and so we're taking cold damage, so we gotta go quick. And then again, similar to the one to Stasis, we gotta curve around the cliff here. And then this next clip coming up, P5, if you want to explain extended shield clip.
Yeah, so this one, you'll see we clip through the front door of the shrine instead of the side. And do a bit of extra menuing. This is called an extended shield clip, and basically you're kind of doing 2 shield clips in a row to clip through like thicker walls. So you do a shield clip, but then on the frame that Link flicks back to his original position, you pause, and then you re-equip your shield and input a second shield jump, and so that will do like a second clip, and that's what allows you to go through walls like shrine doors, which are like, yeah, a little bit thicker. and so it is frame perfect.
Yeah, I was gonna mention
because you
that's
have
the
to
key
pause.
point there. Difficulty wise, you gotta get the right frame. And we've actually got 2 more of those in the run that we're gonna be going for to make the dungeons a bit quicker. So here's Cryo. We're not gonna use it at all. And if you're wondering how we're gonna skip the shrine, the answer again is Wind Bomb. Wait, can I? This isn't high enough.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to eat and try again.
I think technically you can wall jump that, but it'd be like a nearly max height wall jump.
Yeah, we're good. We got backup food.
What is a man? A miserable little pile
Yeah, one thing to
of
note
secrets.
about all dungeons is that the backup food is actually pretty like limited, because you just have the like 6 peppers and 3 mushrooms, but you need to keep the 3 mushrooms and at least 3 peppers in your inventory for later. So you kind of only have the 3 peppers optimally as backup food.
Yep, and you might have noticed we grabbed a ruby earlier, along with those mushrooms and peppers. This is all very carefully planned out inventory management to perform a very powerful glitch coming up soonish called inventory slot transfer. And that's just a little teaser, but basically we'll be able to duplicate a bunch of items with that glitch. And we'll explain how that all works once we get there. So now
But we are now done with the shrines, and it's time to collect our paraglider from our friend the old man. One more BLSS.
a little bit high here. Yeah. We'll try that one again. These fall damage cancels are testing me today. Thankfully, there's only 2 in the run. Once
Maybe
you
they
get the
patched
glider.
it. I don't know.
That's true. I didn't think about that. The thought does cross my mind sometimes when I miss a trick that's supposed to be easy, like too many times in a row. Did they patch it when I wasn't looking?
I mean, they're out here patching an 8-year-old game.
Right? And then I remember, oh yeah, my Switch is not connected to Nintendo servers for reasons. Alright, okay.
We did have a 321 donation from Vitamin D Witted for our yippee sound, which is one of the cutest ones. And a 1792 from Arrow with our famous "What is a Man" sound. Thank you very much.
You gotta add a Italian old man sound.
True. I should have thought of that.
We could make it a mission. We could add it if chat donates enough. Would you like to try that?
I think that would be fun.
Let me see. I think that would be really fun. Okay, let me do a little
right,
work on the back end, and we'll see if we can get that set up.
Alright, well, I held you guys in suspense for a bit, but here we are. Now we're done with Great Plateau. We've got our paraglider after we skip through all these cutscenes. And so from here on out, we're basically turned loose. We can go anywhere and do anything within the bounds of the game. But we're going to be making our way straight to Hyrule Castle, just like in any percent where you go rush the end of the game. But we're just going to be going there to grab a couple powerful items for combat and also to set up our inventory slot transfer glitch. So we're just going to come down here and set up another slide. And Player 5 did mention earlier, we're not grabbing the tower, so we're going to see a lot of these very long slide sections where we're going to try to kind of pan the camera up to avoid loading in the world as much as possible, which will cause the game to kind of freeze and catch up with Link.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that, like, a version 1.8 patched BLSS, and there's no way to play with BLSS on the Switch too, because doing slides, like long slides without any world loads would be so satisfying. Like, we kind of get there with bullet time bounces, but I don't know. Having slides, like, because you can just fly infinitely, right? At a max speed. In fact, there is an actual max speed. We call it speed cap. And if you exceed, I think it's like 100 meters per second or something in game, then Link will completely halt. Right? It'll stop all of his momentum, and then you have to click again to regain the momentum.
Alright, that was good. Grab this.
Okay, so right here, Cloud is reorganizing the inventory. And that's because inventory slot transfer requires, a very specific setup for your inventory. Everything needs to be like in the right order for the glitch to duplicate like we want it to. And so right there, you're waiting for the castle to load in because we've gotten here so quickly that it just doesn't have enough time to load everything in. And so you're waiting for this like cutscene to happen. So you might as well reorganize your inventory while you're waiting. And then also, the chest that Cloud picked up contains 3 ancient arrows. It turns out that Castle is basically the only place you can get them. I had this crazy idea recently.
Oh,
well, no, I've
no.
had the idea for a
Oh,
long
no.
time. But like, we want the ancient arrows because they provide like really big damage. But because castle's the only spot you can really get them, there's like technically Beetle has an ancient arrow. But you have to take this detour to Hyrule Castle. And so, what if you used an amiibo? You scanned in a treasure chest that has an ancient arrow. And so, after like a few years of thinking about this and then not actually trying it, because that would introduce like a lot of randomness to the run, you'd have to scan as many amiibo as needed to get the ancient arrow. I tried it, and it turns out it doesn't work.
Alright, we're also
It
gonna
does
try
not
to
let you-
stealthily grab these fairies here. Let's do right. One more.
I need one more. These fairies are kind of annoying.
The third one never wants to behave. If I kept enough backup food, I could skip the third fairy, but... Alright, we got that guy. Now we can just run. And we're gonna make our way to Rito Village. Meadow is gonna be our first divine beast that we're gonna take down. But before we get there, we're going to use the shop at Rito Village to set up our inventory slot transfer glitch. I'm gonna grab this claymore, be a tool for later. And just one more slide. And we're there.
We did have a $5 donation from Lit Books that said, "Good luck, Cloud. You're going to do great with all these BLSS, BTB, IST, and maybe getting MSD." Smiley face. And I definitely know what all of those things mean. We also had a 1991 from no name and no comment, but thank you.
Speedrunners and their acronyms.
I think you should do some TCRs maybe.
I don't even know what TCR is. That's like advanced levels of brain rot that I have not achieved yet.
Yeah, that one's combat tech. Thunderclap Rush.
Oh, okay. I am
Chat
familiar
says
with
you
it.
should do a SBECC
Okay. I'm
or a
assuming,
BADBR.
I'm assuming I know who's writing that
No,
chat
wait.
message.
Okay. EAD. Okay, shield block reset, vertical wind bomb. But what's bad? Backflip? No. I've got
Blue
quite a bit.
action, diamond, star, backwards, reverse, very
Backwards,
wide
reverse.
bomb.
I'm just gonna let that go.
Oh, very wide bomb would be. That'd be fun.
Speaking of convoluted speedrun tricks, it is now time to perform inventory slot transfer. So basically, the TLDR, or the short of it, is that we're going to use a smuggle glitch to convince the game that we have a different amount of inventory slots than we actually do. And we're going to transfer that across a save file that I'm about to make here. And that displacement will happen, which will cause properties of some items to transfer onto others. And I'm going to focus up here because this part is pretty... What's the word? There's a lot that can go wrong.
Yeah, this one you definitely need to focus up. This is a pretty classic in like Zelda speedrunning. Just kind of random menuing and then fun stuff happens. So right here, if you pay attention, you can see like the fairy's wings are moving during the cell menu. And so that normally doesn't happen, and that's how you can tell something funky is going on. This is a frame perfect input that Cloud is doing to talk to the shopkeeper in order to be able to sell the items that she is like holding. And so that's what breaks the the inventory, and allows you to transfer properties from like some items by like reloading a save, is that you have the game in a state where you're holding an item and then you sell the rest of it and then it drops out of your inventory. And so right there, we're like corrupting a certain number of inventory slots. And then when you reload, based on how many slots you've corrupted, in this case, I think we corrupt 7 or 8, I forget. Then you reload a couple times and it will end up duplicating our fairies.
Yep, so see we have 300
our
fairies,
rubies.
8 rubies, and we're gonna also
What?
have 4,000 ancient arrows, which I'll show you guys in a sec.
And
Okay.
And so you can see how powerful that would be in a speedrun context, right? Like we're doing all these wind bombs. Instead of having to stop and grab backup food for every wind bomb, we can just tank them with fairies. Also later when we go to the Elden region where it's burning hot, instead of buying the fireproof armor, we can just tank it with fairies.
Oh my goodness, we just got a big 10101 donation from K Alamode saying Cloud past plateau. It's a dream come true. Thank
Hey.
you so much.
But
true.
the
We get
downside
to see more of the game.
The downside of inventory slot transfer is we broke our slots, but also now our slots are broken. So if at any point I reload a save, it's going to kind of mess up where my champion's abilities are. So if I do that, I'm going to have to basically quit out of the game and like, reboot it basically. So we're gonna, one thing about categories like this that do IST is you gotta get real creative with your backups instead of just loading a save. You're gonna have to figure out how to kind of salvage things from where they are, because generally that ends up quicker than quitting out of the entire game and restarting. But hopefully we won't have to do that.
Yeah, there's only a couple spots that you're like really forced to reload. So most of the other spots, like Cloud was saying, you can get a little bit creative, like wind bombing away to reload the enemy that you may have alerted on accident, and then wind bombing back.
So one of the highlights of the all dungeons speedrun is all the dungeons have these super cool entry sequences. Well, most of them have these super cool entry sequences. That's the wrong arrow. So this one is a bit of a fan favorite. So we're going to take out that shot, and then we're going to come up here to the center and try to perform 3 precise kind of snipes on the rest of these cannons here. You'll notice that a lot of the combat in this game is bow and arrow. And there's going to be a lot of these sort of trick shots that we're going to try to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got them all. Very nice.
Hey.
Clean.
So we are now into our first engine.
Just got a $15 donation from MZ saying wah wah. Thank you.
So
Oh, another fun one about that entry is that a lot of people don't know this, but you can use ancient arrows and it'll one-shot the cannons, where bomb arrows will two-shot them. You can just go and hit them if you wanted. I think I've done it with normal bombs
yeah,
at one point just for fun.
back before my speedrunner era, I did a playthrough of this game where I tried to not use any weapons, and I was like, there's no chance I can just like drop bombs on these cannons to blow them up, can I? And it actually worked.
Yeah.
It was very cool. So Vomito I consider to probably be the second hardest of the Divine Beasts. But fun fact, this is the only one where we don't have to grab the map, because all the terminals are facing right side up. So we don't need to manipulate the position of the divine beast at all. We just gotta get creative in how we move around.
And we are just a little over $500 away from unlocking that Master Sword early get.
Almost there.
Let's get there, y'all. Get those donations in.
So that's a very precise slide. And now we're gonna perform another one of those frame perfect extended shield clips like we did to get into Crayonets.
Yeah, this is also one of the only divine beasts that no, I think it's the only one that we use BLSS
There we
in.
go. I think that's correct, yeah.
But
Alright,
I
there we
think
go.
one of the best parts of all dungeons is like inside of the divine beasts, because with Breath of the Wild speedrunning, there's a lot of wind bombs, and wind bombs are cool. But I feel like the fact that the divine beasts force you to like
Actually
solve
play
puzzles
the
in
game a
more
little
creative
bit.
ways. Yeah,
For
yeah.
once. Okay, let's try again. This
You gotta
slide
actually
is
play
the
the game.
bane of my existence.
Yeah, it's super cool, and they're all really fast. And in some cases, it's like you're not even really breaking the game. You're just doing something that you wouldn't think works if you were playing through it casually. Like, oh, there's something in Varudanya that we'll see later.
Alright, I dropped this slide there, so we're just gonna back it up by doing a wind bomb to get across. I'm gonna actually get a little bit more height. There we go. So yeah, with our
Mission start.
hundreds of fairies, we can tank the cold damage, we can tank the malice damage, we can tank enemy damage. It's just super convenient. So here's a cool little trick we're gonna do with stasis. I'm gonna need some fire for this part.
All right,
All
my
right,
friends,
lined up.
we have a mission. The mission is to get this old Italian man's secret sound locked and loaded in our donation system for at least the rest of this marathon. All you have to do, chat, is donate $4.25 25 times over the next 50 minutes, and we will lock in that Italian man's secret sound. So get those 425s loaded up, help us push towards reaching that goal. And let's hear that old Italian man for the rest of our days.
Please do.
So we're now in our first boss fight, and we're gonna see the power of ancient arrows. And the Blight's enemies actually also take a debuff from ancient arrows, I believe. It's 30%, I think. I can't remember the exact
That is
number.
a lot of damage.
But combined with our royal bow with very high attack power, we're kind of getting precise shots so that Meadow doesn't get up too quick and we can get in enough damage to one cycle the boss fight. Oh, that tornado always trolls me. I'm trying to put him here. Other headshot. And alright. We're just gonna skip past the heart container.
Where we're
Casual
going, we don't
players look away.
need heart containers.
Yep, and just like that, off our checklist, 1 dungeon down, 3 to go.
I'm feeling full of beans.
And with that kind of gauntlet of tricks out of the way, we're actually heading into what I consider to be the most difficult section of the run. We're gonna head to Gerudo Desert to
I'm feeling full of
complete
beans.
those quests and enter Von Boris, which I consider to be the hardest of the dungeons and is also the hardest part of the game in general. And we'll see why. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not cool. In fact, the two generally go hand in hand in speedrunning.
Oh yeah, we just got the Great Eagle Bow, which I would say it's pretty great. It's another reason that we go to Rito first, because it's like a 3-shot bow, 28 damage I think per arrow, quick fire rate, long range. It's like everything you could ever want from a bow. And so we'll be able to kill like all the rest of the bosses super quickly. And then we also get like Rivali's Gale, which normally with speedrunning, its usefulness is much lower than like casual play, because casually it's like, oh, being able to get a lot of height quickly, like that's super useful when you're climbing mountains, but we don't really do that. We just wind bomb. But Rivali's Gale does allow you to gain height instantly in the spot that you're standing, and so sometimes there are like cramped spaces where it's more useful than just wind bombing. And so the Vine Beasts are an example of that, and we'll be breaking some sequences later.
All right, we're chipping away at that mission. We did have a 10-10 from Lana. Hi, Lana. We had a 425 from Kay Alamode saying, "Free the old Italian man. Free him." 425 from me, Chillimag, saying, "Molto bene." A 425 from either Lane or Lane, which would be the Italian plural of Lana. Sound off in the chat. Let me know which one it is. And then another 425 from Kay Alamode. "Free him." We want him.
Yes, please.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk to you. So, part of the reason why we duplicated so many rubies earlier is because we've got to buy, as you may know, a special outfit to get into Gerudo Town. So
An outfit that they stole from us.
I know. Can you
Tears
guys
of the
believe
Kingdom.
the Gerudo Vi outfit is not in Tears of the Kingdom? To say I was heartbroken would be an understatement. Give Link his cute clothes back.
I'm feeling full of beans.
So with our rupees that we got from selling the gems, we've got enough to buy this outfit here, and then we're gonna do a little bit more shopping once we go back to Gerudo Town before we go talk to Richu and start the quest for real.
We just got a 425 from old Italian man saying, "Free me." He has entered the chat.
He wants out.
We had a question from Becca Beckery saying, "Which way did you do the rupees?" Sorry, I wasn't here.
The rupees we got from selling the rubies that we duplicated with inventory slot transfer. So at the beginning of the game, there's this like chest on the Great Plateau if you have the DLC that has a ruby in it, and so we just grab that and then duplicate
Full of beans.
up to 8 of them and then sell all 8 in Rito Village after duplicating them. If you don't have the DLC, you can also just duplicate more. There's like a different setup for IST, which will duplicate more fairies, and then you just sell fairies. So you'll have like 999. And then each fairy I think sells for 2 rupees, which is not a lot. But when you have
when you've got that
999,
it becomes
like-
easy to sell them all.
Yeah.
So you'll see we also bought some shock
feeling
arrows
full of
and some
beans.
ice arrows from the stop there. This is a reminder to support your local women-owned businesses. And we're going to be using those arrows later on. If you're familiar with the Zora quest later on, basically the one hard requirement is you need 20 shock arrows. And instead of trying to scavenge around, we just buy them while we're here and bypass that requirement entirely. And the ice arrows are going to be for something special that's coming up in just a minute here. What's generally considered to be people's favorite glitch or movement technique in this game called a bullet time bounce, which if you haven't seen before, somehow, you're in for a treat. So we've got to get up to the Gerudo hideout, which is deep in the mountains, and we're going to need a lot of height to get up there. So this is where the bullet time bounce, or BTB, is favored for the run, and I'll let P5 take over second focus. This is a very difficult trick.
That's right. So in this game, when you shield surf onto an enemy in bullet time, that specific interaction, the speed that you get gets like miscalculated. So you get like, I think it's somewhere around 20 times the speed that you're supposed to when the enemy ragdolls as you hit it. And so in this case, we freeze the Bokoblin so that when Link lands on the Boko, it will cause the Boko to ragdoll, and then that ragdoll will launch Link, 20x the speed. And yeah, you can go really far. And so right here, most of our like movement is using BLSS, but the like one downside of it is that there's no way to gain height. And so in this case, because we need to get to the Yiga hideout, which is in the Gerudo Highlands, and there's a bunch of mountains in the way, we do have to use, or get to use, PTBs. Because, yeah, I would say they're the coolest trick in the game.
They're pretty fun. The first one was good. The second one was a bit off course. Ironic because the second one's the easier one, but we can just wind bomb our way there. And if you remember from your casual playthrough of this game, there's like a whole stealth section you gotta go through here where you like sneak through the Yiga hideout. We're going to skip that entirely by setting up skew, just like at the beginning of the run, and clipping through the back door, and then just exiting straight again from the back door.
I'm feeling full of beans.
Just gonna hop inside real quick. And we're in. We're gonna grab this duplex bow for later. And
Yep.
the game has no idea that we just clipped in the back. It assumes that we went through the whole thing. So now we can just trigger the Koga fight immediately.
It's like only checking for whether or not you exit the back door.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just clip in the back with... That's the easiest shield clip in the game.
It's super
The
free.
way-
Just act like you
Wall is
belong
like-
here, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you put on a high-vis vest and then anything goes.
Or like, I love how in Tears of the Kingdom they added like a Yiga armor set for Link to wear. But it's got like his little blonde tufts poking out the back. Super cute.
We did have a question in chat a little bit ago from friend of the show, Jackson Perotti, saying, "What's the secret to hair sticks anyway? Anytime I try to do it, it ends in abject tragedy and sticks on the floor." Do you have any secrets for us, Cloud?
My secret is I'm cheating. I'm actually using a hairband, and then the sticks are just poked through there. What, did you expect a speedrunner to do something the normal way?
There you have it, Jackson. Cheat.
So yeah, P5 was talking about that great eagle bow. There we saw its power, taking out Koga. Just gonna clear my skew real quick while we're waiting. Gonna try to get in some double hits on him here. Not quite.
I'm feeling full of beans.
Yeah, Koga's an interesting boss fight because it's like, you know, maybe the easiest boss in the game casually. But then in a speedrun, he's got like so much health. And it's not that he has more health, it's also like he's got like insane defense. So you just can't like kill him in one go. Unless you do that.
It's pretty tough, but yeah, there's a little trick you can try. It's it took me a couple of tries to get the hang of it, but if you drag the ball along the ground and then you let go right before it hits him, it'll do 2 instances of damage. And 1 cycle, the last phase. So now the boss fight's over, and this is where if we had the tower, we could just warp right back to Gerudo Town, but since we don't, we're gonna have to get a little bit creative with our movement. Which in Breath of the Wild generally means wind bombs and BLSS. So I guess it's not that creative, but it looks fun and it feels good to pull off. That's one thing I really
Scenic
love
route.
about Breath of the Wild as a speedrun, is the tricks are just so satisfying. As the runner, and then as a viewer, they also still look super cool.
Got a few donations queued here if I could read them
Yeah,
real
for
quick.
sure.
We had a 425 from Kalazi5. Thank you. 425 from Vivi saying free him. A 365 from Lana, who evidently doesn't want to free the old man. So no thank you, Lana. 425 from Vecchio Italiano. Liberami. Which means old Italian man.
We're gonna fall in real quick into the pit.
And then lastly, a 425 from Vitamin D Witted. And with that, we are 9 425s in. We still need 16 425s in the next 34 minutes in order to get the old Italian man sound in our system. Keep them coming, folks.
That step up spot is always interesting. There's a lot of places in this game where apparently it counts Link as stepping up onto a ledge that you wouldn't expect. But yeah, no tower, so we're just gonna slide all the way back and kind of dive bomb from above. I also speedrun Tears of the Kingdom. If you played that game, you know they've got a dive button, which I love. And every time I come back to Breath of the Wild, I miss my dive button. So we just gotta drop like a rock instead.
Yeah, diving was cool.
All right, Lana is coming correct and has now donated 425. Thank you, Lana. You're back in my good graces.
Speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night for Player 5's Any Percent run. It's gonna be a real treat.
That's right, we'll be back. And look, if we've got the old man to spam during that run, I would be a fan.
Do you run Tears of the Kingdom in Italian as well?
No.
No, I don't think there's any categories that use it. Any percent is in Russian. All Dungeons is in Spanish. And I think everything else is in English. For the most part.
Yeah, I feel like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are pretty interesting in that, like, every category has a different language. There's so many different, like, combinations of fastest languages that you wouldn't expect, right? I think typically people think of, like, oh, Japanese or, you know, Chinese characters. Those are going to be faster because the text is more compact.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really matter for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom about, like, how compact the text is or how long the words are. It's really just how long do the cutscenes take. Cutscenes are
I'm feeling
dialogue,
full
right?
of beans.
And so it just so happens that, there's one cutscene in Italian that is much faster than, say, French, where French is faster on specifically getting the Sheikah Slate from the Shrine of Resurrection. That's why in Breath of the Wild, any percent is fastest than French. But like Italian is faster for all dungeons because you go through more cutscenes, and so people have timed every single cutscene and figured out what's the optimal language for each. Oh, time for the best
Naboris
music in the
entry.
game.
Yeah.
Now, Cloud, if you could stall a little bit.
Oh goodness. Actually, here's a spot where it's really bad to mess up. I hope this is not foreshadowing. I'm a bit off course here. We're gonna slide in and kind of ambush the Divine Beast, and instead of going in on a seal.
I completely. I was like, yeah, this is just normal. No, we we ride the Sandseal left to a hill that you can get bullet time from, so you can wind bomb away from Naboris, and then
I'm feeling full of beans.
use a
Okay.
BLSS to get close, so that you can then shoot all of the fuse.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna snipe this one right before the cutscene. Perfect. Didn't
we
get
go.
zapped.
Yeah, a little bit more time for the music.
Right. I was just letting the fans get a bit more soundtrack time.
Honestly, really generous of you. Thank you so much.
So now inside Naboris, like Player 5 mentioned, you're gonna see us use Rivali's Gale in creative ways, aka cheating. Not doing the intended puzzle, because the intended puzzles are quite slow. There's a strat at the beginning that's pretty difficult, but very stylish. I guess that kind of goes for the entire dungeon here. But like I mentioned, this one we do have to get the map because
I'm
there's
feeling full of
just
beans.
one terminal. Well, there's two that are upside down.
Yeah,
But,
honestly, Rivali's Gale is quite nice because if you put me in Naboris and told me I had to do it the
I'm feeling full of
casual
beans.
intended no cheating way, I don't know how long it would take me. This is definitely the hardest one, I think, for me on my first playthrough.
Agreed. And I came here second in my casual playthrough too. Alright, so that claymore that we picked up earlier, we're gonna drop it here to conduct metal. We're gonna reset skew for a clip later. Now we're gonna come up here and use our shock arrows to activate that terminal. And it'll stay active just long enough for us to get to where we need to go.
There we go.
And now the head is gonna go right back down, so we gotta book it out of here and try to wind bomb to our next destination.
Yeah, that strat is so big brained.
It's very cool.
The
Now we're just gonna get rid of these.
the metal
guys.
weapon is like just the right shape
Did I miss it?
to slot in and then conduct
Okay.
electricity so that you can complete the circuit and then shoot the the bulb from like afar, and then it will cause the neck to like rise up as you're standing at the top. But because you shoot it with the duplex bow, it's only gonna stay in the upright position for a little bit, and so you'd have just enough time to activate the terminal and then dip.
And
It's also
that one's a pain to retry as well.
yeah. So I was mentioning that like there's only a couple of spots in the game that force a reload. That's one of them because once it's gone up
I'm
and then
feeling
come
full of
down,
beans.
you can't really retry it. I think the platform like moves.
Yeah, it
Too
resets to a
much.
different position. And if you go too far away, the claymore you dropped is going to despawn. So you have to like go back and turn the wheel and all this stuff too. It can become a big pain.
I got a few more donations queued if we've got a sec.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a 567 from Mrs. Poutine saying, kick some Koga butt. We had 425 from Amaridis. Thank you very much. A 425 from Mario. I'm not that old. What is it? Is it Mira campaign from a Luigi? Thank you, Mario. A 425 from Mrs. Poutine. A 425 from Argetlum. I'm given to understand we're attempting to let loose an old Italian man. Yes, thank you. Understood the assignment. And another 425 from Lana, who's making up for lost time. Thank you very much.
Alright, we're going to have to improvise just a bit here.
Well, there we go.
I'm not sure. Oh, I barely missed it. Wait, no, that wasn't even the right one.
No, it's probably the other.
Yeah. Just gonna get rid of this guy.
Yeah, so this section, you can't actually activate a terminal if it's not right side up. So, you know, if it's upside down, Link can't just, you know, hang from the thing and then put the Sheikah Slate on it. He has to wait for it to be completely upright. And so that's why we need the map on every Divine Beast that's not Noboris.
Alright. This clip's pretty tough. I know there's a way you can get skew from inside here apparently, but we'll just put Link through the spin cycle again a second time. Oh, and by the way, since it's happened a couple times already, if you ever see me just randomly blowing up Link with a bomb, that's because we're clearing what's called glitched ragdoll state. Every time we do one of those shield clips, we have to do that. Otherwise, our next wind bomb is not going to work.
It's actually
secret
because
to
we don't like
breaking Link.
him.
The secret to breaking him is to break him more. And then he feels better.
I'm actually just punishing him for missing the clip.
He's a bad boy.
Oh, I missed. Stylish combat trick here. Ooh, we got him. So yeah, Thunderblight's difficult because there's RNG or random elements to the fight, and then also he's super quick. And if you get him off cycle, it can be hard to recover without having to pull off some crazy parries and such like that. We're gonna break his shield with this, let him drop, and then just try to pummel him to death with ancient arrows. Alright, we're gonna have to... Whatever I just said about crazy parry strats.
Oh, and of course, she nails it.
We clutch it.
But yeah, if you struggled with Thunderblight, you know, when you came here casually, don't worry. Everyone does, even speedrunners.
Yeah. And I hope it was
Yes,
at
he's,
least a
he's
bit
tough.
cathartic for you guys to see us take him down so quick. Or on the reverse side, maybe it makes you feel bad that it was that easy the whole time. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, to be fair, the order in which you do the Divine Beasts actually has an impact on the boss fight.
This is true.
So, essentially, the Blight's health scales based on like which or how many Blights you've defeated. So, Wind Blight, we were dealing a ton of damage because we had the Royal Bow and Ancient Arrows, but it's also that he was the first boss that we fought. So I think it only has 800 health compared to the fourth one will have 2,000. And so if you saved Noboris for last, you were going to have an even harder time fighting Thunderblade.
We had a $25.93 donation from Goober Dome saying, so much Zelda, so little time. Thank you very much.
So we mentioned earlier that we can't warp to any shrines because we skipped the tower, but you can still warp the divine beasts. And that ends up being the quickest way to get out of Gerudo, because it's surrounded by those super tall mountains that would require probably a couple minutes of wind bombing to get out if we didn't have that convenient warp point. And from here, we're just going to slide and slide and slide all the way to Zora's Domain for our next Divine Beast quest.
And we are just about $400 away from that goal of unlocking the Master Sword early get. And we've got, how much time do you think we have on that, Cloud? Like 15, 20 minutes?
Probably a bit more like 30, I'd say.
30?
Yeah, it's probably something like 30.
All right, but we're going to need to turn up the heat a little bit, chat, if we're going to get to see that Master Sword in this run. We only need 10 more 425s to lock in our old Italian man. Keep them coming. Help us cheer Cloud on.
Here's a fun part about moving so fast, as you'll notice. The entire domain is just not there. There's no, it's just a big lake. So we're gonna have to wait for everything to load in. And I think I'm a bit too far forward. And since everything is not loaded in, it can be very hard to tell where you're actually going. The architecture here is not exactly intuitive. But there's our floating king. And you'll see the Nintendo 64 graphics as we're still loading in. And this part of the run, we affectionately refer to as fish drama because it's just 5 straight minutes of mashing through dialogue, skipping cutscenes, listening to the fish people fight amongst themselves.
Full of beans.
Hey, we just saw that in Echoes of Wisdom yesterday, too. What is with the
It's,
fish
a bit
and
of
their
a
drama?
Yeah, when Tears of the Kingdom came out, we're like, oh my god, that run has fish drama too. And then Echoes of Wisdom came out, and we're like, okay, this run has fish drama too. Arguably, Echoes of Wisdom is the worst fish drama because there's so much back and forth.
It's quite a fetch quest.
At least in Tears of the Kingdom, it's like you complete the objective, then there's drama, then you complete another objective, and like the drama is pretty well dispersed. But right here, it's just like, okay, we're mashing through text. Now we get to watch a cutscene, and by watch it, I mean skip it. Then more text. Then we get to put on a shirt. And then we get to run for like 3 seconds, and then more drama. Although, I will say it is kind of nice after having just completed the hardest portion of the run, which is the Gerudo section, just to kind of chill and turn your brain off for a bit.
Let him yap.
Oh, and you'll notice something here too. So, if you don't go through the normal sequence of events, like talking to Sidon down by the wetlands, where he like leads you up to the domain, you can just come straight here. And there'll be a special cutscene that plays to kind of introduce Sidon. But since we talked to the king before that cutscene loads in, the game wasn't able to reposition Sidon to the correct spot for that special cutscene. So he'll do that little flash where he does his signature like smile, but the camera just won't zoom in on him.
Kerplop in chat says, let the fish flounder.
Yep. We love fish drama. And yeah, the really fun part is that because we bought the shock arrows in Gerudo Town, it is like we talk to them for what, 5 minutes, and then it's like, well, the conclusion is that you're supposed to go up and collect shock arrows from the Lionel. That's like on the mountain, but we already have the shock arrows, and it doesn't matter where we got them as long as you have 20. So we just completely skip that. It's like all of this yapping just to then do a couple of wind bombs and then we're good.
I'm
Yeah,
feeling
this is
full of
definitely
beans.
kind of the chillest section of the run. Even inside the dungeon too, everything's on a cycle. So as long as you make the cycle, you're pretty much good. There's not really a way to kind of speed it up beyond that. Just because there's like those water wheels turning that we have to manipulate. But we'll get there.
And we are cruising towards completing this mission. We've had 3 more 425s come in from Lana, Kalazi, and me. We've only got 7 to go.
All right.
Get a few more 425s.
And we are entering the water dungeon, so if you'd like to send your proceeds to charity water, now is probably the best time to do it.
That's right. Zora's domain is suffering from an abundance of water, but if we could send that elsewhere in the world to those who need it, then that would be perfect.
And actually, I don't know if y'all knew this stat, but every $40 that we're able to raise for charity water is actually a single person who's going to have access to clean drinking water for life. And so each 425 donation that you're getting in is 10% of the way to getting someone clean drinking water for life. So we're having fun, we're memeing and being silly, and we're doing great things while we're doing it.
I'm feeling full of
Great
beans.
stuff.
Thank you, Palm, for that 425.
I'm feeling full of beans.
Thank you, Lana.
We talked a little bit earlier about like the Divine Beast entry battles. And I've kind of pulled chat on this, on which one is their favorite, and it seems pretty evenly spread between Meadow, Naboris, and Ruda. And then there's Rudania, which will nobody likes that one, but we'll get there later. Save the best for last in this run. But this one's pretty fun too.
Oh, this one's hard. Because right here, Cloud will be pre-firing an arrow to hit one of the targets. Or potentially not.
No, I'm gonna do the baby strat.
Fair enough. But there is a strat where you pre-fire an arrow so that you can hit the rest of the 3 targets in one go. It's a little bit faster, but because you only have 1 wheel of stamina, it's quite tight. You really can't miss.
Yeah. If this was Tears of the Kingdom, you'd have a lot more time to kind of line up your shot because stamina drains per shot fired rather than the amount of time you spend midair. So that got a bit simpler, and it makes strats like fighting Colgera with no paraglider a lot more doable.
No, that one's still impossible. Sorry.
That's super hard. If you guys haven't watched the Tears of the Kingdom glitchless run, you have to fight Colgera without the paraglider. And you can miss like 1 shot.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you miss more than 1 shot, the run's dead. Full stop.
How far into the run is it?
75% any percent?
of the
Oh
way
my god.
Yeah. It's rough.
It's a gauntlet for sure.
Speedrunning
And
is
then
an
you can
unforgiving
also-
sport.
It is, yeah. You're chasing perfection.
Another 425 from Opista. We've only got 3 to go. Let's go.
All right. This dungeon takes about 4.5 minutes to complete. Let's see if we can get that in before we defeat Waterblight and save Mifa's soul.
Takes about 425 to complete, maybe.
More or less.
I'm feeling full of beans.
So we mentioned everything in Ruta is kind of on a cycle, and we're going to kickstart that cycle by freezing this wheel here and grabbing the first terminal. Then we're going to jump down, grab another one, and get the map. This guardian here likes to troll and shoot me.
I'm
So we're gonna
feeling
try to-
full of beans.
Oh, that was close. Get rid of these guys, and then
Mission complete. I'm
hold my
feeling
motion
full of
controls.
beans.
There we go. Is that? Not quite.
Oh, that's not quite enough. It made the sound.
I'm feeling full of beans.
But we have shattered this mission, and we are going to be
Oh.
getting the
There we
old
go.
Italian man's secret sound.
Let's
All
go.
right, congratulations. Good work, everyone.
Thank you all so much. Keep an eye on that donation bar below the game for possibly a hint on what we got to do to hear that sound.
So here again, like we mentioned, we're gonna have to grab the map in order to manipulate the trunk. And the beast itself doesn't really move other than the trunk, but the water will kind of manipulate the inner workings of the dungeon for us to access the remaining 3 terminals.
Bravo, ora guarda che coraggio.
So we can move the trunk up here. We gotta do a cool sequence of wind bombs.
I'm feeling full of beans.
Perfect. That launch is always super fun.
Restano solo due.
Okay, and now just 1 terminal left. This is where the cycle kind of comes to a head. If we miss here, we're gonna lose. It's like 40 seconds or something. So it looks like we'll be okay. Just barely. Sneak in there. Because if you miss that, you gotta wait for the wheel to go all the way around. Wait, okay.
Attento a quella lancia. Arriva molto lontano.
Water blight time.
This guy's really annoying because his head can land in awkward places where it's really hard to get headshots. And as far as I know, it's basically just random where his head falls. So it can be a bit annoying to deal with. And the Great Eagle Bow has a lot of durability, but it's not infinite. So you want to
Adesso
use your shots wisely.
fai attenzione.
Yeah, and then it feels like the ancient arrows, like, they don't hit as consistently as you would like.
Yeah, like right there.
And so it's like you can aim directly at Waterblade's head, and then it'll only hit with like one of them, one of the arrows.
But either way, that's 3 dungeons down and just 1 left to go. If you guys want to
Hey.
get our objective to grab the Master Sword and see the cool sequence of glitches we do to grab it early, make sure to get your donations in. Here's the game plan. We're gonna slide into Eldin. We're gonna rescue Yunobo. We're going to break down the bridge. And then we're gonna walk up the volcano. And then beat the beast. And then our time will be up for those donations.
We've got a little ways to go. Let's get it done. Lock in, chat.
A bit of a donation speedrun, perhaps.
I'm going to speedrun reading through these donations that pushed us through the mission. Had a 425 from K Alamode. Simple free old Italian man to celebrate my favorite part of the run. Good luck on the flight to the Goron's Cloud. 425 from Anonymous, 425 from Zelda Fan 77, 425 from Lana, and 425 from Anko 48. Thank you, everyone. Chat, I think you know what you have to do if we're gonna hear from our BFF, the old Italian man.
This part right here is arguably the dumbest step up in the run. There's nothing more humiliating than watching your bomb float away with the wind as you try to chase it down. Thankfully we got a quick pick up there. And you're going to notice in just a minute here that for the next several minutes of the run, Link is just gonna constantly be on fire. It's not because we hate him, but this is what's required to save the princess. So our poor buddy here is gonna be kind of feeling the heat. Let's get those donations into charity water to help douse Link. Okay, we should be good. This slide's always a bit awkward.
Yeah, with these long slides, it's especially it's difficult because like you have to flick the whole time. So to accelerate, you're like flicking back and forth repeatedly, and you can't hear it. It doesn't get picked up on the mic very well with this setup, but it can be quite loud. Repeated left and right inputs.
Yep. And you guys may know there's actually a little trick you can do to stop Link or put out the flames, but it just ends up not being really necessary most of the time. However, something that does make things difficult is if you try to wind bomb when Link first catches on fire, it'll instantly fail just because of lag. So for these times when we come out of a cutscene like this, we gotta try to hurry and beat the flame. Looks like we got it there. And if you remember this section, you know that there's this kind of rock wall that we have to break down to rescue Yunobo, but we're just gonna try to wind bomb in quick enough that it stays unloaded and we can just glide right through. Very nice. There's a backup for this, but it requires clipping in and you're on fire and you gotta worry about your shield burning. This is a good trick to not miss. And so now that we rescued Yunobo, we're just gonna head back and talk to the boss again, and then we'll be on our way. This section is also pretty quick, but oh. Oh, nice snapback. But the fact that Link is on fire the whole time does make things a bit strenuous.
Oh, I would like to point out that in Italian, if you look at the detonate text on the screen, it does say bum. I don't think that's the correct pronunciation.
I think it's just boom, right?
Yeah.
But
But
That
that's
one
exactly the
always
kind of
gets
humor
people.
we stand for. We did have 1861 from MC saying, "One Master Sword, please."
coming right out.
And 61 from Arrow. I think we found our new secret sound. If you want to cheer on Cloud to the very end with the dulcet tones of our old Italian man, bring on in some more 1861s. Let's get them rolling.
But yeah, the kind of running theme for this section is just when I showed off the text earlier and it forgot to detonate the bomb. And now we're just gonna chase it down the hill. The kind of the running theme for this segment is chains of wind bombs while Link is on fire. Make things a bit difficult. Just do a little super for fun there.
A super being a super launch, which is extinct on the Switch too.
Yeah, we did a couple early
Basically-
in the run, but we didn't get a chance to talk about
Oh
it.
yeah, we didn't mention it. But what you're doing is you're causing the game to lag. And then you are doing a sequences. Well, you're doing a sequences of like pauses to generate lag in the game, and then also capture the lag. Is the way you could say it. Where when you unpause from your inventory, it will, like, the first frame will be a lag frame, and so it'll have lowered FPS, right? And in the lowered frame rate, the game tries to speed up Link so that the game still runs smoothly. And so if you're able to then, from a launch, open the paraglider while the game is lagging, you will get that boost in speed for the whole launch. And so it's one of the ways we abuse lag to go a little bit faster in speedrunning.
It's a very fun trick,
And the
but also frame perfect, so missing it, you don't always get a chance to retry because you might lose your lag and not be able to get it back for that specific segment. But here in Elden, where everything is constantly on fire, my poor 2017 Switch 1 is kind of running on fumes, so it's pretty easy to get lag just for free. And then all you gotta do is hit the right frame. So here is the Divine Beast entry that I'm sure you've all been waiting for. This combines two things that speedrunners dislike the most, which is a set cycle, auto-scroller, and an escort mission. We're gonna have to walk Unova all the way up the mountain here while avoiding these sentries. But thankfully, since we've got a lot of bows and, 3,952 ancient arrows, we can just do a little bit of target practice on these guys. And at the speed that you're
Vivian
going
chat.
through doesn't matter too much as long as Unova doesn't get stuck.
Stevie in chat says, "I keep hearing Italian old man and thinking we reset." You
No,
know
yeah,
you're
I wouldn't put it past
speedrun coded when.
But yeah, poor Link just suffering. The fairy's going off every like 5 seconds. Again, though, it's
Oh,
kind
yeah, I
of
feel like
a nice chill section towards the end of the run.
it's very chill. Link is just, on fire the whole time. Burning alive.
Someone in chat says, I know people call Link hot, but this is ridiculous.
I mean, his fit goes kind of hard. Not gonna lie.
It used to be even better. Before we did IST, you'd have the Flamebreaker trousers. They're like very baggy. I don't know, I guess firefighter pants, kind of.
It's firefighter chic. It was all the rage back in 2017. Here we always like to do a little bit of gamba, see what gem we got. A sapphire and 3 flint. Is that... What kind of luck is that? Is that auspicious?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, blue is like water. Right?
True.
And we are supporting charity water, so it's fitting.
We sure are, and a few people have supported charity water recently, including K. Alamode, 1861, Old Man Italian status freed. 1861 from Apista. I'd love to see the Master Sword. Me too. We've got just over 250 to go. Like right now, someone very generous needs to drop like $260 so we can see the Master Sword, please.
Now we are running out of time. The deadline is after Varudanya is done, and
We're almost into
these
the
dungeons
dungeon.
go quick.
I would say we've got about no more than 7 or 8 minutes left. Assuming everything goes to plan.
How many old bands is that? Let's do some quick math. Argetlum, you look like you're doing math. How many old bands would it take to get us all the way to 34,500 in the next 7 minutes? 15. That's not that many. That's not that many old mans. Anybody in chat willing to drop an old man on this? Can we get some hands up? Can we do a little teamwork?
I prefer not to get an old man dropped on me if it's all the same to you. Send that old man to charity water. Wait, that's not much better, is it?
That is great out of context.
Dropping old men as the elder. All right, how about we glide him gently into our donation system. Oh no. Pullman doesn't have his paraglider
Ooh.
anymore.
We did take it.
Yikes.
Stop him, Penguin.
Dropping him into the charity water well. We'll have a nice landing.
True, you don't take fall damage in water in this game, so.
So here in Varudania, if you didn't think this run had enough trick shots so far, we're about to do like 5 or 6 more. This whole section is a lot of shooting things, and it's dark, so we get to shoot in the dark.
Yeah, I feel like this section, all of the divine beasts are pretty cool, but This one is probably my favorite, just because this section, once you learn how to do it, is super satisfying.
I'm still a bit slow with it, but better to take your time. Because your arrow count is limited. And we're about to do the mother of all trick shots coming up right here.
Astro Perry had an old man. Do not drop your old men. They are very fragile. Thank you, Perry.
Alright, so we're gonna come here and line up a precise shot to shoot this torch above, which is gonna skip a lot of the dungeon. Got it first try, very nice. That shot's very
There we
precise,
go.
and you've normally got that skull guy chasing you, so you gotta hurry. Also, as well, before the arrow burns out. You've only generally got like probably 4 or 5 seconds to line up the shots.
Yeah, you're basically, you shoot an arrow, it hits the wall, and then drops down. And because the arrow is on fire, it lights the torch. Oh,
And you can just kind of jump through the hole there and skip having to open the gate, which is very nice. Not even a glitch, just something the game lets you do.
Just skill. Just cold, hard skill. Italian old man dropped an Italian old man and said, "Hey."
now that he's free.
Our Getlem drops one and says, "Instructions unclear. Old man yeeted."
This is for all the times that we died of fall damage on the Great Plateau during our casual playthroughs.
That's right. Purge your system now, folks.
Alright, and there's our last terminal. So we've got one more boss fight and about a minute of cutscenes, and then that'll be time for our Master Sword goal.
Still believe.
Lana didn't drop an old man, but Lana dropped a baby one more time with that 1998. Thank you very much. Italian old man says, "My two favorite streamers, thank you both for the many hours of delight." While eating an old man.
Thank
This is-
you all.
To specify, old man eating is not something that either of us do on a frequent basis. This is a one-time thing.
I mean, maybe 2 times for P5's run tomorrow, right?
What?
True. Oh no.
I've never seen him go off the edge before.
Oh my goodness. I will always remember Nuki's first hundo run. That was
Oh,
the
no.
first time I ever saw that happen. Oh.
Okay, and there is our last Divine Beast, our last dungeon, which means, as they like to say in the bingo world, we are in go mode. The only thing left to do is head to Hyrule Castle and take down Calamity Ganon with the power of friendship and my 4,000 ancient arrows. So we've got about 30 seconds left to hit our goal for Master Sword. So where we'd be sliding into the forest. Otherwise, we're just gonna head straight to castle and finish the run.
And we're 154 away. The odds are steep. Chips are stacked.
Yep, it's
Can we
now
do
or
it, chat?
never.
Grazie per aver recuperato tutti i colossi sacri e liberato gli spiriti dei campioni. Ora staranno aspettando il momento
All right, looks like we'll be heading to castle then.
Alas.
So
Better luck next time, chat.
there's an actual official speedrun category called Master Sword and Dungeons, where it generally ends up being like a cope category. So like if I want a good all dungeons pace and then I lose it in Rudania, we're just like, you know what, chat, we're gonna go get the Master Sword, tack 3 minutes onto the run, and then we can maybe get a PB in that category. It's like I like to think of it as like a consolation prize run. But basically what you do is you just go to slide into Korok Forest, perform the campfire glitch to get the Master Sword, and then break out inside the castle, where we're gonna have to wait for everything to kind of load in.
I will say, while we may not have hit the Master Sword extension in time, maybe we could swap it to the Trial of the Sword beginning trials.
Oh, true. I did
We
prepare
can hit that
a
by
little
the end of
something
the
special
run.
in case we had time remaining. So you've got about 4 minutes, maybe.
All right. Game is back on again.
So in any percent,
Any old men?
this is like the
Any old
climax
men
of
in
the
chat?
run, the hardest part. But in all dungeons, it's so satisfying. You just get to pump all those arrows into his face. My first category in this game was any percent, as is many people's. And after learning the difficult Calamity fight, it's just super cathartic to knock him down and pummel him in the face.
Love that Calamita Ganon at the top. Welcome in, Raiders. We're enjoying a super fun speed run of Breath of the Wild while fundraising for Charity Water. We've got a few minutes left on our little goal incentive to showcase one other fun little element of the speed run, but we need $154 to do it.
Yep, and about 2 minutes left of the run. So the final fight here, Dark Beast, is basically just an interactive cutscene, but there is some skill element to it for sure. We're just going to be kind of listening to the music cues for knowing when to kind of pre-fire our shots. It's just a nice little victory lap at the end of a very tough speedrun.
Yes. Love that Ganon. Bestia bella tenebre.
And a little fun fact about this horse that it gives you, it's like a default horse if you haven't registered one before you get here. It's actually in the game's code listed as Link's horse.
Wait a second, wait a second, wait a
Tell you
second.
what, I love getting a delicious.
Oh my god! Check it!
Did we hit the goal?
Wait, no, they didn't.
Well, you've got about 30 seconds
65
left.
cents short.
You've got about any 65 cents in chat.
Everybody dig into your couches. Pick up those couch cushions. We need 65 cents.
This one's gonna be a buzzer beater.
That was 153.95 from Anonymous. Thank you so much.
And well, there you go. That's time on our speed run.
Here it goes.
This has been Breath of the Wild All Dungeons. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We had some fun mishaps here and there, but got to pull off some cool tricks, and it was very fun to get to show you guys this incredible speed run. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all will tune in tomorrow for Player 5's Tears of the Kingdom run. That one's going to be a lot shorter, but no less cool and no less silly. You guys will see what I mean. That's a fun run, and I'll be back on commentary too for that tomorrow
I'm
night.
feeling full of beans.
Fantastic. This has been so fun, Cloud. Thank you.
So are we
We did hit the goal.
Oh, we did?
I think we slid under the wire.
Sure,
Because we got a lot.
Let's jump right into
People
it.
turned out.
Let's jump right into it then.
All right.
Oh, let's go, dude. Trial of the Sword is such a unique speedrun in terms of like Breath of the Wild categories, because most of the time, you know, at big open world, we're like avoiding fighting enemies as much as possible. But Trial of the Sword, the main focus is combat.
So what do you think? Should we show off the beginner trials restricted, or should we do final trials unrestricted?
You go either way.
I see Coco in chat says Trial of the Sword Restricted is their favorite category.
How much time do we have left for our segment?
We have. Let me check. We have, in theory, 4 minutes, but we could go a little over if we have
All right,
to.
we'll do the final trials then, because that one's a bit shorter. So this is not going to be your typical speedrun. We're going to show you guys what it looks like out of bounds in Trial of the Sword. And I'm going to show you how to skip right to the end.
Never done the hard one to this day. Just take notes and do this instead.
So we're going to need a couple pieces of gear first here. Just a bow and then an arm weapon, I guess that works. Just got a couple arrows. Put that there so these guys don't bother me. Should probably get rid of that. Okay, these guys are gonna annoy me if I don't take care of them.
But there is a wooden shield there.
Oh,
If you
I'll
want
probably grab that one instead. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set skew right here. Should be fine. Then hopefully we can clip out of bounds. There we go.
Whoa.
So now we are out in the world. There's like a whole separate game map for Trial of the Sword that has each of the rooms kind of lined up like eggs in a carton. These ones, the black domes right here, are from the middle trials where everything goes all dark. This one right here, there's like a Hinox. If we go close enough, we can kind of hear the music.
Ooh, spooky.
But I'm just kind of doing that to reset the weather. And then we'll come back out this way. Oh. Went a bit too far.
It fell out of the world.
Just a little jump scare for everyone.
Yeah.
Are you awake, chat? Are you with us?
Alright, we'll come over here and we're gonna wind bomb over to where we need to go. So these rooms right here are from the middle trials where you fight the guardians, and then the rooms that have like updrafts and such.
Yeah, all of the rooms exist in the same like coordinate system. They're all just bunched up next to each other. which is good for us for this unrestricted speedrun.
And then we'll get to do our little cryo blocks. So this room right here, this is the magic room. Because this is the last room of the beginner trials where you fight the Hinox. And it'll take you to the sword chamber. Now you may be wondering, isn't this the beginner trials? How can we complete the final trials? Well, the game decides which sword pedestal to spawn in based on which trial you select at the start. So since I chose final trials, even though it says, okay, we're just gonna swim. Even though it says that we are going into the beginner trials room, we'll still get to go to the very end. And we'll also get to show off how we fight the Hinox with nothing. This clip's a bit weird, it might take me a few tries. Or we just get it first try, that works too.
Hey. Just set the bar low, so then when you like sail over it, it looks really good.
Exactly. So, since you notice we have like nothing but a skeleton and a rusty sword, we're gonna grab this box right here, and we're gonna bonk him to death.
We were we were talking about elder abuse earlier. This is Hinox abuse.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Okay, this is a little bit better than what I've done in the past. I would bonk his lower end.
I've seen, I think the world record bonks his armpit. You can get double hits in here, but I'm just playing it safe so I don't break the box on accident. No, don't come any closer.
You're just petting him, you know?
Mm-hmm. And there you go. That's how to kill a Hinox with no weapons.
Incredible.
And so the sword chamber here, normally you can just run up to the end, but we've got speed strats for everything. We can just do a nice little wind bomb to get up there. And time. That's a Trial of the Sword speedrun for you.
Let's go.
GG's.
Yep,
This has been awesome, Cloud.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for inviting me on and spin it. Definitely a lot of fun. If you guys want to see more of me, I'm twitch.tv/cloud. That's CLOUDD. I'm running all dungeons right now, going for a PB. And then I'm also going to be swapping over to do some Tears of the Kingdom runs fairly soon. And then, of course, I'll see you guys tomorrow for Player 5 speedrun.
Thank you, and stick around, chat. We're going to have a very special concert coming up quite soon. I think you'll like it.
Ooh.
The Master Torch. All right, thank you. Bye.
Well, I tell you what, I love getting a delicious... tell you what, I love getting a delicious